What's good with it? It's the almighty EA Ski. Much love and respect to everybody that's rocking with me, that's holding it down, that's subscribed, all the members, man. I appreciate everybody, man, that's learning and listening. I told you I had this series called, You Can't Handle the Truth. And it's just one by myself, just really just talking to all these beat makers and producers out here. I want them to understand that my goal for the community is for them to be the greatest producers and beat makers they could possibly be. I'm definitely inspired to show and share information on how I became, who I became, through all the perseverance, through the hard work, through the trial and error, and learning and failing. I had to fail. I had to fail to be able to sit in this chair right now and talk to the camera right now about who I am and be transparent with my mission. And a lot of people that's out there that's doing music, they're very delusional on what they're hearing. I'm really sad that the community has gotten so bad based upon the information that's out there. Just the hustle. Hustle over passion is really the title of this You Can't Handle the Truth. More people are out there hustling because they don't feel that they can really compete at making a great beat. They don't feel that they really can take their home studio and what they do and really get a placement on a big record. You have to dream it. You have to really believe it and have the passion for it. There's some guys that's out there that's making great production, great tracks. I mean, really in there working and really know how to put tracks together. But unfortunately, now it becomes a sound thing. The tracks sound good, but sonically the quality is bad. There's so much bad information and people telling you how to bypass this and bypass that, and this the cheat code. Should there really be a cheat code to excellence? Should there really be a cheat code? I just purchased a Burrow B2 bomber, and they've been talking to me about that that Burrow for like over 10 years now, and I'm just like, no, I don't need that. I don't need that. And I finally got it, and boy, what a difference! What a difference! Sonically, the clarity. Are you in the game for the hustle or for the passion? Is social media just where you want to be and just post beats and talk online all day and never really get a chance to experience what one record could do for your life? One record could change your life. I'll never forget when I did the Spice One record. I was passing my demo to the label. The label was called Triad Records. And I was trying to shop a deal there. And they heard the records. And even though I was rapping on the records, they were like, hey, man, we love what you're doing. We would love for you to do some music for Spice One. At that time, I was like, no, I don't want to give my tracks to another artist. All I wanted to do was rap over my own production because I was forced to rap over my own production because back then, producers wasn't all around. There was more DJs, but it wasn't a lot of producers. A lot of producers that was DJs turned producers later on. But the reality is that I wound up doing my own tracks and happened to get so great at it that it demanded people to want to do something with me. But I think back about that all the time on why. With all the stuff that was going on and hip hop in its early days was starting to rise, what made them want to ask me to use my tracks for somebody else? And when I reflect years later, from now to years later, it was because the way it sounded. It sounded good. The mixes was good. The sonics was good. And I never ever forget my foundation of where I came from. So when people hear me talk about sound, it's a passion that's in me that I wish a lot of these young kids would understand. Don't just think about the beat. Think about the quality. Think about what you're running it through. Think about it like this here. The stronger the engine, the better you have to get people's attention, right? If you're in a small cylinder car, like a 4-cylinder, you only going, when you hit the gas, you only going to go so far. The bigger the cylinder, the faster you smash. And it's the same with music, man. The better the converters, the better opportunity you have for your stuff to cut through the mix and sound so much greater. I'm trying to get people away from just hustling. I'm trying to get people away from just thinking that workflow is going to be the answer. A lot of people that do music right now, I understand why workflow is the answer, because they don't know how to get into the industry. They don't know how to be a real inspiring producer, beat maker, working for stuff. So it's like, well, that dream is too far removed, so I'll just comfortable doing that. And if you're comfortable just hustling it and just doing it and workflowing it, God bless you, man. There's nothing wrong with that. If it's really just a true hobby and you're just having fun, then this message is not for you. But I truly believe that everybody that do beats definitely want to have an opportunity to see if their record could get with Jay-Z or get with Nas or get with whoever your favorite rapper is. I can't possibly think that people would just do beats and just say, oh, that's it. I'm going to go to my job. I truly believe that people would love to get their records placed. And if that's you, and this touch you, then you have to start thinking differently about your music. You have to stop thinking about just workflow and all of these updates we're getting. We got to think about the quality and the sound and the system that we're getting into it, so our music can poke out like nipples. You know when a female nipples get erect, she kind of like, ooh, either it's cold or she's feeling you. You want people to feel you, man. You want people to feel you. You want people to feel your passion. Man, I had a dude that I thought was dope with the production. And I saw him working on the iPad. And I said, hey, man, you doing a great job. You got that iPad. You got doing some great things, but it sounds a little thin, man. Why don't you take what you did on the iPad and run it through something else, process it, and make it sound a little bit better because it sounds really thin. And he was offended. He was offended because I was just trying to help him see that I like what you're doing, but it's not going to go further if it's that thin sounding. Sometimes people can't hear sound. I think that's one of the biggest things that's going on in the community is people can't hear sound. I come from the days where there was no wave files. I had to use my ears. I had to use my ears. There was no waves. Like, I know that's hard for y'all to believe there was no wave files, but it wasn't. It was just numbers. Anybody that know about vintage samplers, the older samplers, it's nothing but numbers. I'm sorry to tell a lot of you guys, it was nothing but numbers. So this is why some of your older guys that you grew up with, that you love, that you call legends, their ears are so good. Because we were trained to use our ears when the sample wasn't locked in. We like, we had to crunch the numbers and squeeze it a little bit. Squeeze like, lose our ear. There it is. It was ears. It wasn't. I mean, I wish I did have the luxury of having wave files back then where I could just see this. Okay, this is the point. Pop, 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 pop. But then I'm like, do I really want to have that luxury? Because it trained my ears. It trained me to hear sonics. It trained me to hear the harmonics. It trained me to understand the quality that I'm trying to go for. And I think a lot of y'all are going to miss that if you keep on allowing yourself to not train your ears. You know, I made a challenge to somebody, several people on my live. I said, hey, one day just try just having only 10 seconds of sample time and see what you can make. Y'all got the luxury of all the sample time in the world, all the plugins in the world, everything that you can do in music, you can't imagine. You can do it now. There's really no limitations. But the question I ask now, is that good or is that bad? Because to me, with the way records are not selling and not performing, and we have to do so much more to try to get attention now, it don't look good. And we got all the limitations. You can do whatever. There's no limitations no more. No, there's no limitations to anything anymore. And things seem like it's just going backwards. But when we had limitations, man, we was making some of the best records in the world. And you know why that is? It's because we had to use our brain. We're letting the machines think for us now. A lot of people say it ain't the gear, it's the ear. And I hear that statement all the time. But I just think that's a cop-out, because it ain't the gear, it's the ear. Well, then where's your ear? Why am I not hearing people's stuff sound quality? Why when I hear their records it sound thin, it sounds muddy, it sounds distorted, it sounds like wrong sound selections? I think people say stuff because they know that they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. I just challenge everybody out there to have more passion than hustle. Because the truth to the matter is you're going to hustle yourself into a hole that you just can't get out no more. And by the time you realize that you had an opportunity to be great, your time has went by. Now, music don't have an age, contrary to what people say. But some people might not be in a situation to do their music like they want to, whether it's health problems, whether it's family, whether you just don't have the time no more. If you have the time now to do your music, do it correct. Stand up like a soldier. Be a real rider. Go in there and invest in the right stuff that can make you sound incredible. Because a lot of y'all got that talent. But the sound that you're running stuff through and the way you're thinking about your music is real poor. And I just would hate to see cats that somewhere out there that have some type of skill just lose the benefits of just taking that extra step. You know, I'm going to end this off like this here. I knew a lot of cats that was in the NBA, and they tell a lot of stories on some of their friends that were better than them, far as skill-wise. And they said the only reason why they didn't make it because they had the skill, but they didn't have the passion. They had natural skills. And the person that made it in the NBA was the one that had to push harder. They had to do the extra stuff that the average person with skill just didn't have to do. The moral to that is that you don't want to be comfortable, man, just thinking that you're going to cruise by. You got to do extra steps to separate yourself from everybody else because everybody do beats now. I've never thought I was seeing this time period everybody doing beats. At one point in time, doing beats was just like, damn, you do beats? Damn, you rap? It was so special. Now it's not so special. So with that being said, if it's not so special, you're in a big cesspool of people now. So what's going to separate you from everybody that do beats like you? Because now you give somebody a beat, they'll give you a beat. Hey man, check out my beat. Oh, you check out my beat. You check out my beat. Everybody giving beats. It don't even matter. So the only way you're going to win that competition is you're going to have to be so dope that people are like, hey, I don't want to play my beats for you. Yours is dope. You want to dominate. You have to separate, or you just going to be in a cesspool of just swimming around and crabs in a bucket just trying to get out and everybody pulling you down because you don't stand out. You got to separate yourself. You got to challenge yourself. And I just want cats to challenge themselves sound-wise, creatively. You know, try different stuff. Try different music. Don't just try staying in that same trap mode, the same 808 mode. If you don't know melodies, try to learn how to play your own melodies. Because I'll guarantee you, when you play your own melodies, you're going to feel so much great about yourself. When people do love it, you're going to be like, damn, I made that melody. Damn, I made that. I didn't have to use that person's melody. I didn't have to use that person's sample pack. I made that. It's a great feeling, man. And that all comes down to passion over hustle, man. So I love y'all, man. I hope this inspires y'all. Leave a comment, man. Let me know how you feel. You know, do this describe you? Are you a hustler or do you have passion? Leave a comment, man. Like, subscribe, go to membership, the Almighty EA. I'm out.
The Almighty EA Ski Track.